Hello and welcome to another video from oorail. In this video we're going to show you our weathering attempt on this V3 tank. So this is a Bachmann V3 tank. Its running number is 67673. It's in BR plain black with early emblem. It has the Westinghouse pump, and so this is a fairly old locomotive. It's one I picked up on eBay. Runs pretty okay. It wasn't in great shape. It was covered in some sort of grime. It looks like somebody had let it sit out in a kind of very dusty environment. So it looks a little too shiny and new though. If I show you the box, you can see the loco had a much sort of grimy looking appearance. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of weather it up with some weathering powders. So I've got this dirty white, which we'll use later on. We have our grimy black, our medium earth, and the medium grey. We also have sand, new fresh rust, and dark earth. I'm probably not going to use those, but I may. So this thing pretty much is as is. It comes from the factory. So the first thing we're going to do is take some wet wipes and basically just clean off the surface. And the reason we're doing this is to just give something the weathering powders to stick to. So we'll just do the usual deal here on the roof and the boiler on the side, on the front. I did say this was kind of grimy, so it'll may pick up some additional dirt as I clean it here. And I'll be careful not to damage any of the detail. I was going to try not to get too much weathering powder on the actual wheels and the undercarriage here, because it's actually already been painted kind of black. As you can see there, we're picking up a fair amount of dirt as it is. Just going to clean that up like so. And just sort of, we're using the downward motion like this. Just to prepare it for the weathering powders. And likewise, we want to get the ends on the buffer beams and on the front as well. And try not to do any kind of damage to any of the detail. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is get that in place. Whoops. Is we're going to apply the grimy black weathering powder. So we're going to take a new paintbrush, this yellow one, and we're going to take the grimy black, and basically what we're trying to do here is essentially just dull down the appearance of the loco, and give it a kind of a and this will take a while to make this look effective. So I don't know if you can see there from the camera, but you can see it's already starting to look a little bit duller, and that's basically what we're going for. So I'm going to continue doing this on the loco, and we'll show you the end result. Okay, so here you can see the end result, at least on this side. If I pan around to the back, you can also see what we've done there. Along the top, you can just see it's no longer got that kind of shiny look to it. It's looking pretty decent. So I'm going to finish up the other side, and then we'll let it sit overnight, and then we'll give it a few coats of the spray varnish. Okay, so this is the end result. I'll spin the thing around so you can see it. You can see we did what we kind of wanted to do, which was kind of a sort of a medium weathering effect. Once we spray it, it will lose about half of the weathering, and so it'll look pretty okay. Alright, so that's basically it. It's looking pretty good. So it no longer has that kind of plasticky look to it. So we're going to go ahead and spray this, and we'll show it to you running on the layout. Alright, so here you have the end result. This is the Bachmann V3. Its running number is 67673. It's in the early BR black livery. It turned out really nicely, actually. I'm quite pleased with it. The only thing I didn't show in the video was the varnish spraying. We sort of sprayed it about 6 to 8 inches back, and what I did was actually angled the spray, so instead of spraying it dead on where it might hit the gears and the wheels and so on here, what I did was actually aimed it at about a 45-degree angle, and I started the spray about an inch before the locomotive, and then just did one pass this way, did one pass on the other side, and then one pass head on at a 45-degree angle, and one pass through the back at a 45-degree angle. Like I said in the video earlier, you will lose quite a bit of your weathering powders, so it's okay to put them on pretty heavily, and then the varnish will dislodge quite a bit. You can see here in the front, the buffer beam detail worked out really well. I still need to add a few pieces, but that's easy enough to do. Might add some lamps on the front as well. The texture on the loco as well turned out really well, and I'll probably just bring it up a little bit closer to the camera so you can see some of the details on the side. With the weathering powders, I use mostly the grimy black. Started at the top of the roof, if you've seen the video, and worked my way down. Around the sides here and down the front, I also used a sort of a medium earth tone. It's kind of a rusty sand kind of color, and that just kind of adds that kind of weathered look to the side of it as well. I didn't go very heavily on it. I only went up a couple of millimeters along the side here and over here. As you can see, it only really retained it in a couple of places, but gave it that kind of slightly different color, so it just didn't look like it was all the same color. I also put in some white up along the top here, but that really didn't survive the spraying very well. There's a little bit still there, kind of a trace of it, but not much.
If I wanted to do that effect better, I'd probably use some paint as opposed to the weathering powders. But all in all, for weathering it completely with weathering powders, it's turned out really nicely. So what I'm going to do is bring it forward a little bit so you can see the rest of the detail. One other thing that I did do is I did put the black grinding weathering powders over the top of the coal here, and it kind of gave it a kind of more realistic look as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll pan it forward, and then I'll probably flip it over so you can see the other side as well. Okay, so as you can see there, rather than bring it too close to the camera, I just manually panned it around it on the other side, and now you can see I've also turned the loco around so you can get a look at it on this side as well, and we'll leave you with it leaving towards Chippenham Junction. So as you can see, it looks really nice, and hopefully I've shown you that it's not too difficult just to do some basic weathering with weathering powders. And here, like I said, we got this model for about £27 or so off of eBay. It wasn't a brand new model, and it was you know, something I could risk trying out the weathering on. And must admit, for my first attempt at weathering a steam locomotive, it's turned out pretty well. So I have a couple of jinties I might experiment on next. Alright, well, let me know what you think, and if you have any tips for the weathering powders, please feel free to put them in the comments below. And until next time.